What? Oh, okay, I see. Give me a second, y'all. It started very early. Let me, yep. Sorry about the echo. Um, First time doing a multi-stream through a Bleacher Report. We're gonna fix this up real quick. Uh, all right, we have ultra low latency on. Let me copy and paste the title over. Bleacher Report live streams. Bleacher Report live streams. Need to update the playlist. We're gonna make a new playlist for this. We're gonna call it Gifted Hoops Bleacher Report. Yeah, the burp was crazy. I can't lie. Ask LKIAB for a collab. I ain't there yet. Done. Is bitrate good? I might have to fix bitrate. Let me see. Let me grab my towel. Ugh. No. Ouch. Okay, we're back. We're here. I definitely want to link up with them when I can, but we focus right now. Let me get this live stream up here. Start virtual cam. Okay. Do we just go live? I think we just go live. Grab my headphones real quick. Am I echoing somewhere? Where am I hearing audio from? Okay, mic test, mic test. I'm still hearing echo. Where's the audio coming from? We'll figure this out. Oh, that's why. Turn that off. Okay, we're good. Cool. I'm not hearing myself echo anymore. We can begin the stream. Mic test, mic test, mic test, mic test, mic test. Oh, I need one more light on, actually. All right, that should be the best quality now. Audio seems to be a little cracked. Let's fix that up. That should be correct. Okay, mic test, mic test, mic test, mic test. We're trying it out. YouTube, I think you guys are good. I'll pop out the chat to make sure I can see your comments while we're live and whatnot. Let me pop chat out. All right, let's. Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another Gifted Hoops live stream. Hope everyone's feeling good as we're in the building here. Excited. So this is the first time I'm multi-streaming on Bleacher Report and YouTube, so bear with me. But I have a show that I do on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, normally around 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. In the off season, it should be a bit closer to that time, but sometimes I boot up a little bit early. Make sure to tap in with me on Twitter to stay updated for those time zones. But essentially, we do a 30-minute stream where we discuss nothing but basketball in many different ways. So that's what we be on inside of these chats here. And today we are speaking about the Kevin Durant debacle and also the Desmond Bane stuff. What's been going on with that? I think my I don't know why my camera's mirrored. It shouldn't be mirrored because I clicked on don't mirror. So let me unmirror that, and that should fix it. Image is gonna probably reset. Is it gonna listen? Okay, we're good. Okay, perfect. All right. So yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, I don't know what to start with because the NBA finals have been crazy. We've seen a lot of different things happening on that side of town. I do want to say the Oklahoma City versus Pacers playoff series in the finals has been spectacular. I think we've seen a lot of great basketball in many different ways. And ultimately, that's what I'm here for, right? I'm here to have a good time and enjoy basketball at the highest level. And so far, these NBA finals have really given me that. Now, later in the show, we are going to address Game 5 and give the keys, breakdown, and all that. But we got a trade to react to. So happy to say that because trades signify that we're officially in the offseason where a lot of things can happen in the Wild Wild West and the Bad Boy East. Desmond Bane is moving from the Western Conference to the Eastern Conference in a blockbuster trade to go to the Orlando Magic for 4 unprotected first-round picks and a pick swap with KCP in the deal, and Cole Anthony in the deal. Now, I've had time to simmer about this, okay? If you rock with me, I have a video on my channel actually breaking down the ins and outs of the Desmond Bane trade. I think he provides a lot of value that the Magic are really, really looking for. But the first reaction that everyone had to seeing this trade is, oh my God, what are the Magic doing? 4 first-round picks for Mr. T-Rex? I don't call him that, but a lot of people are surprised that he went for this much, especially in a league where people are expecting the Kevin Durant domino to fall soon. And I need people to wake up and realize we're no longer in 2001. This is not the 90s. This is not the dead ball era. We are in a position where contracts are not the same. Player values are not the same. And more importantly, the CBA is not the same. So when you look at all of these things considered at this point, moving forward, what really matters when teams are making trades and giving up these unprotected picks for players, they care about longevity and sustainability. And what's more in that than a player like Desmond Bane, who's very consistent? We understand exactly what he is. He is a 20-point per game scorer, one of the best shooters in the NBA off of the dribble. And really catch and shoot is his primary goal. He can shoot a little bit off the dribble, but his main role is to be off the ball. And for the Orlando Magic, this is a team that we've watched for many, many years with Paolo and Franz and Jalen Suggs and you know, friends, essentially be a team that is the best defense in the NBA at times, but for most of the time, the worst offense in the NBA. Pretty much. And it feels kind of wild to say that considering how much talent they have with Paolo and Franz, but people still question how they can play off of each other. But really, the roster around them has not done much to really maximize their skill sets because the spacing has been super duper clunky. So getting Jalen Suggs to develop a 3-point shot was step one into trying to make the space around them better. They tried to have step 2 be KCP. But unfortunately, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was awful for them. There's no other way around it. He's off this team. So we can just be fully honest about the season that he had. It was brutal. He couldn't shoot. And his defense was okay. Like, I've also seen him really defend better. There were just a lot of issues with his game on the Magic. And I feel like he's really a negative asset, all things equal. So to me, the pick swap that they had to throw into this trade was to compensate the Memphis Grizzlies for not only trading the best player clearly in the deal, but also attaching KCP's dead weight to the deal as well. So to me, not only did the Magic get the best player in the deal, but they also got off of salary for KCP and opened up another potential playing spot for some other players on their roster, i.e. Anthony Black is going to be another guy that can really turn up and change things around, right? He is a young player that provides so much impact, so much value. And I think that this move really says to me that they're trusting their young guys. They're trusting their talent. I want to say shout out to King in the chat on the YouTube side. When it comes down to it, the reason why the Magic do this trade is because they have to do something to improve the roster. And I know a lot of people are going to nitpick and say, well, why did you all the picks? Well, let's break down the actual picks that were flipped in this deal, right? They traded the 16th pick in this draft. Could be a very solid player there. They traded away the Phoenix Suns pick next year, which, by the way, how that works is super dependent on the Washington Wizards. If the Wizards wind up having a worse season, they will keep their own pick. But if they don't, and the Suns have a worse season and get a higher pick, they will trade their pick away. So the Magic will have the Wizards pick, and the Wizards will then take the Suns pick. So if you are a Orlando Magic fan, you are really, really rooting on the downfall of the Phoenix Suns and also the Washington Wizards in this upcoming season. That's what your goal and hope should really, really be, to get a very solid piece in next year's draft, because from our reports, next year's draft should be insane. So they have a very good chance to receive a top 10 pick next year, which is pretty good. That to me is the most valuable pick in this entire deal. That to me is the highlight of this entire package for Memphis. That pick package up with this year's pick. Then in terms of their own draft picks. They are then trading their 2028 first round pick and their 2030 first round pick. Now, the hedge on all these picks, right, is that they believe by having these players, by having Paolo, by having Franz, by having Desmond Bane, by having a young Anthony Black on their roster, maybe see what Jett Howard could also turn into. They are banking on them getting better as a unit, right? So all in all, that's out of pocket, real out of pocket. But all in all, they are looking to improve. And if they do improve, they believe that this team can be a top 5, if not higher seed in the East for the next 5 years. And if that's the case, if that holds up true, then the value that they had to give up in their picks won't be as crazy because those picks won't be super high picks. And at that point, you're really, really, really relying on a Desmond Bane to be the guy to pick up that slack because he fits a lot well overall with this roster. So to me, as I look at the landscape, I really appreciate everything that they did in this move. Now, obviously, things have to pan out. But even if we are super pessimistic, right, and we go complete worst case, right, complete like the worst scenario you can think of from a basketball perspective, what's going to wind up happening is they have to make a decision between Paolo and Franz. And to be honest, people in the NBA landscape have already for years been coming to decisions about this for a minute. They have been thinking to themselves, wow, can Paolo and Franz really play together? Can they really have a high impact on the floor together anyway? So if things crash and burn and things do not work out, they're going to probably trade one of those pieces in the next 2 to 3 years as is, and they'll be able to recoup all or close to the same draft value from those players when they get traded to a different team. So to me, like, it's not really a massive loss for the Magic either way because they had to find a way to improve in some way. And more importantly, the kicker for this entire deal to me is evaluating the landscape of where we're going. For the NBA right now, in the Eastern Conference, Jason Tatum is out for the year because he tore his Achilles. Damian Lillard, a key player for the Milwaukee Bucks, is out for the year because he tore his Achilles. When you look at the Eastern Conference landscape, this is a more wide open East than it's been in the past couple of years. The biggest contenders right now on paper, at the very least, are the Indiana Pacers. They're currently in the NBA Finals right now. The Cleveland Cavaliers, who were not healthy, at least that will be their excuse for next season if they decide to run it back. And they also just won 60 games, so they're still a force to contend with out East. The New York Knicks, who lost to the Pacers in the conference finals, they could retool with their new coach and some additional superpowers. So then the other teams on the outs are maybe the Pistons, a team that really surprised a lot of people last year and could make a big swing in this offseason or just continue to really develop and grow with their young core in Sor Thompson, Kay Cunningham, Jalen Duren, Jay Ivey. They can just continue to see that through. And then you have a team like the Miami Heat, who is rumored right now to be in the race for Kevin Durant, which if they get Kevin Durant, we're talking about a completely different build than we're used to seeing for the Miami Heat. A completely different build where Tyler Hero, Tyler Hero, Kevin Durant, Khalil Ware, right? Like they're going to have a different type of look about them, and they can definitely be a super competitive team as well. So if you're the Magic, you make this move now to capitalize on the next 2 years based on how different Boston is going to look, how different the Bucks could look with or without Giannis in these next 2 years. And you say, screw it. Now, obviously, you have to win considering all of the assets you traded away, but you had to win regardless if you're going to justify having Franz and Paolo make max money on this roster. So at the end of the day, someone had to pull the trigger. Someone had to get to something. So I don't really hate this deal as much as I initially did. I actually think it's very interesting. Now, all that being said, I think Memphis won this deal because as good as Bane is to Orlando, does Bane elevate them to being a team that can win a championship and beat a Western Conference team? That becomes the next question. And I just don't really have much faith in Paolo or Franz Wagner being a number one option on a title team, at least just yet. Maybe in 3 years, I could be wrong. We'll see how that shapes out. They also have a lot of different roster problems and details that they have to fix if they're going to contend at the highest way, right? So independent of that, the Memphis Grizzlies are a team that zigged when everyone thought they would zag. I actually completely flipped it up. Anyway, you get my point. They did something a lot of people did not think that they would do, and they blew up their core, right? The Jaren Jackson Jr., Ja Morant, Desmond Bane trio in Memphis is no longer. And this is a trio that had a good amount of regular season success when healthy, never made it to a conference finals, unfortunately. But they looked at the landscape, they looked at the CBA, and they said, we're going to move off of Desmond Bane. And while it's surprising, the draft capital that they got back alongside Cole Anthony and a contract in KCP that they can try to flip in the future as well, gives them a lot of different flexibility and positional or versatility to really improve this roster around Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., right? Especially drafting higher end talent players in the upcoming drafts, let alone whatever that Phoenix pick turns into. Because I'll be the first one to tell you, if the Phoenix pick turned into a top 5 pick, that's a good value pick for the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, as much as I like that, at the end of the day, you do have to turn that positional flexibility into something, right? OKC right now has the deepest team in the league. They're in the NBA Finals. And the biggest criticism on them as they're in a 2-2 series is that they haven't done enough to really maximize that lens around them yet, right? Like they could have traded for Cam Johnson. They could have traded for a Lauri Markkanen player. There's different things that they could have done, but they didn't do these things, right? They chose to sit on their riches. And if it works out, fine. But if you don't win a title this year, when it's that close of a margin, a player like a Cam Johnson could have really made a big shift. So again, it's what you do with all those assets in the future that you will be judged by. So it's a much longer term play for Memphis, but I do like the optionality that it opens up. I do like the freedom it gives them to extend JJJ to a longer term deal. Hopefully it's not a super max type of contract. I highly doubt that it will be that. So for me, I'm looking at this and I'm saying that this can be a very, very interesting offseason. I mean, we're already starting out with a Desmond Bane trade. We already have Kevin Durant on the pipeline as well. And then you have all the other teams that are looking to outfit and improve their roster. So that's my take on it. I had a full video breakdown on my channel at Gifted Hoops, which is below here in the description. Tap in there if you want a further detailed analysis of the Memphis trade with the Dallas with the Orlando Magic. But moving forward, as we have 15 minutes left in this broadcast, we're going to pivot to Game 5 tonight. I'm excited. I think the NBA Finals have been a super duper fun time. I see a lot of people hating, like they're not happy about who the finals are, who's there. To me, none of that really matters because I'm watching high level basketball, right? Like I'm seeing many different coverages and I'm seeing players be great in many different ways. So to me, I'm having fun with that process and how that has been going. And more importantly, in terms of the NBA Finals, let's be honest, we've had a very mediocre finals for the past couple of years. I think the last good finals was really our team, Golden State versus, hang on, give me 1 second. Yeah, so we have specifically had a good finals last, I would say in 2022, where it was the Boston Celtics against the Golden State Warriors. And to me, even that series, if we're being honest, a lot of those games ended in blowout margins, but the game process was still fun to watch, seeing Steph being the draw that he is, bring a lot of people there. But in terms of a back and forth series, we haven't had a series like this probably since the Bucks and Suns series. And even then, that series was a slow walk down where Suns go up 2-0 and then they get reverse swept in the series by the Bucks, where the Bucks win 4 straight games. Even though those games were competitive, they still lost 4 games in a row. This is a series where game 1 Against all odds, the Indiana Pacers show up, steal game one. Tyrese Halliburton, game winner, sensational fourth quarter. We saw a lot of great things from the Pacers in game one. Game two, absolute blowout. OKC reminds everyone why they're the favorite, how good Shea is. The entire team dominates them in many different ways. Game three, the Pacers take away in the fourth quarter. They do a lot of different things. Miles Turner has some great two-way brilliance. Benedict Mathurin gives them 27. TJ Nash off of the bench. And yes, TJ Nash, shout out to my guy, TJ McConnell. He's been a phenomenal player for them for the majority of his tenure as a Pacer. Does some really good things. And they take game three. So now they have a chance to go up 3-1 on Oklahoma City. And for a lot of game four, they're controlling it. They're outplaying them. They're playing better than them, right? Shea has a very slow start to the game, but Jalen Williams comes through as the miracle player of the game, where he's really asserting his dominance over the group, over the entire series. He's doing the exact thing people were afraid that he would not be able to do on the road in the biggest of moments. And he's able to buy just enough time so when Shea can wake up and get it going, OKC, the team, is able to close them out. And a lot of it came down to simple adjustments, right? Like trying to make Indiana play a different style of offense where it's a lot more isolation sets down the stretch. You switch everything to encourage that type of play more, and you turn your defense into offense, which for OKC, their calling card for the entire season has been turning defense into offense, turning you over, getting out and scoring in our own way. And they did a bunch of that in the fourth quarter. But the game is still close, right? A lot of players did not play up to the expectation that they could have. And now we go to a game five where a lot of people say the Pacers blew it. A lot of people have Oklahoma City winning the game tonight because they're at home. They have been historically one of the best home teams in these playoffs this season. But at the same time, it's the Pacers. The Pacers are such a wild card because they have so many variance guys that can come in and give you a game, give you the run that you need to have some real success. And to me, as I focus on where this could go, that impact matters. It just does. So it's hard to call. We don't know exactly who's going to win, but it speaks to how competitive these NBA finals have been. In my opinion, I'm going to just be honest about this. Tyrese Halliburton has to play better. Tyrese Halliburton cannot afford to come out in game five and be passive. And by passive, like, I hate the people that like, oh, he needs to. No, I'm not saying he has to take 25 shots. I'm not saying that. Okay. Me gifted. I'm not saying he has to take 25 shots. I'm saying he has to simply play within his range, get downhill, create opportunities for his teammates, and get it going. To me, that has to be the vision and the goal to get himself to a position where his team can have success. I'm focused on that. He has to be a lot more aggressive because the Pacers are a much different team when Tyrese is an offensive threat and being a weapon, getting downhill and getting out in transition, throwing those dart skip passes, right? Exploiting the defense when he can. When he's doing those things, it opens up so many other angles for this team. The other player, Pascal Siakam, he's been a marvel for them the entire playoffs. For a lot of these series, he's been neck and neck with Tyrese in terms of his value. He has to show up as well. Because in a game five on the road, he's probably the only real shot creator on this team that can go get a basket in isolation. He has a lot of favorable mismatches in this series due to his size and him being a true 4-5 hybrid, right? There's just different things physically he can do to this Oklahoma City defense, and he's going to need to get his offense going to keep the Pacers in it. For a lot of the games that they've won, he's been a core part in keeping them alive until Tyrese is able to find it in the fourth quarter in the late halves of these games. So Pascal Siakam's role is going to be super duper important to monitor if the Pacers want to have real success in this game. The other aspect, Miles Turner, he's been such a wild card in this series because he has not shot the ball particularly well. I still think he's due for an elite offensive game at some point. I think that is going to come, even though this is a very good defense. But for him, it's finding the times to be elite defensively. He had a lot of good moments for their second win of the series, but he's also had moments where he's getting blown by routinely, or he's not making the right offensive play. Sometimes it just comes down to, is the shot falling or not? And I think with the spacing that he provides, with how the Pacers want to play basketball, when Miles Turner is bombing threes, it opens up a whole other angle and dynamic to their offense that we just don't normally see. And this is the game of all games. You need at least one or two of your key role players to show up on the road. And if it's not Miles Turner, the next guy has to be Obi Toppin. I know people are going to say it has to be Bennedict Mathurin. Mathurin has not gotten the same amount of reps as Obi Toppin has. And in my opinion, Obi Toppin has been a much better decision maker and a athletic marvel in transition. The Pacers' key has to be running up before OKC defense can get set and detonating on them in transition. And Obi Toppin has been a marvel at that for the majority of the series. He's also been knocking down threes at a pretty good clip as well. If he can give them some real production, that can change the tide and pace and flow of this game, just like TJ McConnell can off the bench. But athletically, what Obi Toppin is capable of doing, no one else on this roster can really get to that same type of apex. So I'm looking at his decision-making and his natural ability to help the Pacers on the road. But they're at home. And OKC at home is the most dangerous team this year in the playoffs. They have been relentless at home. It's hard to see them losing 2 games at home. It just is, right? But when we're looking at them, beyond Shea, we got to go to OKC's bench. One of Alex Caruso, Kenrich Williams, or Aaron Wiggins, or Isaiah Joe, one of those 4 has to have a game if OKC is going to win this game. And a lot of them could, because again, most of their team plays really, really good at home, but you specifically need one of those guys to pop off for you if you're going to have success in this game. Specifically to me, Isaiah Joe's probably the most important, because out of all those guys, his spacing is the most legitimate. Now, he's been getting baked and fried alive by TJ McConnell. I can't lie. That's been a thing that has been happening. But I have to give Joe credit, because he still found ways to hit timely shots in these games. If he's able to do that in a game 5, that can shift this matchup as well. I think Kenrich is super important because of his positional versatility and his rebounding. They have to get the rebound. These second chance opportunities are going to be so imperative with a team that loves to shoot threes and loves to get out in transition. If Kenrich can contribute to stopping that approach, then him playing matters severely if you're going to have real success. So that's something that I'm really highlighting in this matchup. Jalen Williams was the savior of game 4. He's the reason why they're tied 2-2 coming back home. But they need him to do it again. Because in this game 5 at home, there are moments where, while everyone else did not have their shots falling, did not have their offense going, Jalen Williams kept them in it by simply attacking the basket relentlessly, getting to his spots, and continuing to go. His motor in doing that gave them a lot of value, and he's the reason why they're a very good team, because of what he can get to. He's such a big factor for them when he gets his shots going, and his downhill pressure alongside Shea makes it such a problem for the Pacers and puts them in foul trouble. So I'm looking at Jalen Williams to really try to assert himself early in this game as much as possible, because they're going to need his presence to be impactful. And then for Shea, to me, Shea just has to continue doing what he's done for the majority of this series, just kill. He's found a lot of defensive mismatches in places. I think his defense could be a lot better in this series. He's been targeted, but to me, a lot of that is because he's like the weakest defender on the floor, because they have so many plus defensive players, and him being the primary offensive player, they're trying to wear him out with the physicality. The Pacers are a super physical team. I think for most of the playoffs has been super slept on. They've been playing super physical on Shea, and a lot of it wears him out for the fourth quarter. Shea is going to have to try to really weather that storm and get it going. And it's going to be fun to see that yin-yang battle, because Shea is a much more stereotypical aggressive star player. Tyrese Halliburton more so controls the game in a different way. So seeing how those styles clash and which style reigns supreme in this game 5 is going to be a blast to watch. I'm going to be super locked in on those adjustments that they make throughout the game, because both of them seem to have moments where down the stretch of a playoff series, they just find their games and really get it going. So seeing that type of matchup will be great. I think the last person that I'm super interested in has to be the bigs. Chet has been banged up in this series quite a different amount of times, but also Chet was humongous with his rebounds. His rebounding presence to close out the game in the fourth quarter and his defensive positions on Tyrese Halliburton on switches was spectacular in game 4. Can that hold up for a game 5? Is he healthy enough? We got to see these things. Also, can they have success with their double big lineup to rebound? To me, these are questions that you have to ask yourself. I'm super interested in seeing exactly what's going to shake with that. But we have about 2 minutes remaining here in this live stream. I will be watching this game live on Playback today. Tap into playback.tv/GiftedHoops if you want a chance to watch the game free with me tonight. We also will be live on YouTube as well. This is my first time doing a multi-stream on Bleacher Report in YouTube. So we're going to be ironing out kinks. I'm going to clearly have to do some chat moderation in the future, but appreciate all of the support from everyone. We are going to keep things going. This is the first stream, the first Bleacher Report stream being streamed on YouTube. I'm going to create a playlist to make sure that it's very findable for many people as we do these 3 times a week at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That's us. Yeah. So appreciate all the people that came out. I haven't live streamed on YouTube in a very long time, so it's going to be a thing that I have to like gradually build up more and more, but I'm here for the challenge. I've had a lot of great progress in making my process better with the camera, the film, the PC setup. So we're officially here going for the gusto. But as always, I will catch you guys in the next one. I'm going to probably have a recap video for game 5 up tomorrow, so stay tuned on that one. But again, we are watching the game live on playback.tv/GiftedHoops at 8:30, and we'll be live on YouTube as well at GiftedHoops at 8:30. So make sure to tap in for that and appreciate basketball. Okay, like don't get lost up in like the toxic talks, narrative talks, all that. We're here for hoops. Real hoops, and I'm enjoying these hoops. So here to see that. We are going to watch a legacy game from one of these players in this game, and then how they respond in game 6 will be the bigger story. So I can't wait to see that. But peace out, y'all. Have a good one. Salute. Peace.